Good.
Good. So, this will call this meeting to order. First on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our flag is up.
There it is.
Pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next on the agenda is town report dedications.
I do this without my glasses. I always think when you speak from you without something written, you're speaking from the heart, and it's so much better. So this year, we called for nominations for the dedication for the town report. And I have to say, it was probably the most difficult time to keep anything a secret, because for the last few years, one of our recipients, Jean, has been instrumental in writing the dedications for the town report. So I kind of didn't want to not ask her about writing for the town report, because I thought that might make her suspicious. Because it says in the town report she's spunky, but she knows everything. She really does. She knows everything. And what she doesn't know, Billy does. So it was really difficult for us to try to keep it under wraps. So there was a little shenanigans, and I have to apologize to you right off the bat. So the first time I met Jean, she came into my office and she explained what her role in the Historical Society was. She also explained to me the importance of the Historical Society. And what I found in Jean was someone who, well, first of all, it was very easy to tell she was a teacher. And that's a good thing. So she was teaching me and educating me on the history of the town, and I very much appreciated it. But what came through the most was her genuine love of history, the town of Waldoboro, and the people of Waldoboro, past and present. And just how she spoke about it, she lights up when she gets talking about it. She really does, and I don't know if anybody's ever told you that. But you get very, very animated and excited. So it was such an easy decision, I believe, for the select board when you were nominated to make that selection. And everybody just, I have to say, we've gotten a lot of comments about what a perfect choice you were. So we already surprised her at the Historical Society last week because we didn't want, these were already here, we had to have them for the election, we didn't want them to be out. But she was doing what she does best, giving a tour to school-aged children when we arrived. And Billy had us running around the side of the building to hide because we wanted to keep it a secret. And people were working in the gardens, and it was an absolutely lovely day and a true moment of surprise. So it is with great pleasure, although this has formally been done before, to present you with the town report, and to Miss Jean Lawrence, who is a very special lady in so many ways and special to so many people. And I'm assuming you're going to have something to say.
Well, you still have a teacher. I had at least one of you on board in school at one time, and had it just about everybody else in Waldoboro. It was fun to go through the graduates and see the second generation of students. I have a great love for this town because I grew up in a town just like this. It was an antique town, and it's still antique because people have told the story of that town and told how the early settlers came and defended that town against the indigenous people and carved out a coastal community that served not only the quahoggers the Naval Air Station, millionaires who had yachts that they brought in to the village. But they kept the story of the founding of the town alive, and they revered it. And I can remember walking home from school. I never rode a school bus until I became a teacher, and I took students on a field trip. So it really was a small town. And I can remember walking home from school, especially high school, and there was a musical that had the song "On the Street Where You Live." And as I went by each one of those old houses that had their little ovals on them that said the year in which they were created and the name of the family that lived on. And they're expensive to do nowadays. Don't ask me to do it because I've been asked 101 times. It's very difficult. But anyway. And I kept thinking, on the street where I live, all these other people lived. And they had their lives. And I was at that point just in high school and saying, what am I going to do? Am I going to keep this going in my mind forever? Or will I work to try to keep the story of the village alive? And I did the best I could until I married a man who wanted to go home to Waldoboro. And so here I am, and I couldn't be active in the Historical Society or in a lot of town things when I was teaching school. There just wasn't enough time in my life. But when I retired, I was able to do that. So I spent much more time doing things for the town other than just teaching the children in my retirement. And that's been a good retirement, and I appreciate the years that God has given me. And when Bob gave me this book the other day, he said, don't stop, keep going. I said, but my bones are getting tired. And they are. But I appreciate this. Mr. Dolph used to say, if people are doing a good job and you want to show them appreciation, for goodness sakes, do it while they're alive. And I think that's wise. Grandma used to say, bring me flowers now, not when I'm dead. And so I truly appreciate these flowers. I truly appreciate the thoughts of those who nominated me and you who elected me. And I will try to keep going as long as my bones hold out.
Wanda Collmore.
So you got a lot to live up to, Mom.
I know.
What can I say about Wanda? Let me tell you a little story about Wanda. First time I met Wanda, we danced. We danced. It was Waldoboro Day 2017, and there was a dance on a Friday night at the VFW, and that was the first time I met Wanda. And what I loved the best about Wanda was she was like me, and she would sing songs. She would just sing songs, sing along with whatever was playing, and she liked to dance. But she starts off real, kind of slow, and then as the night went on, she got really wild. And she's the life of the party. So I learned very quickly, Wanda's the life of any party.
Wanda's dark.
So that was the first time that I experienced Wanda. And then we had an election the following November, I believe it was. And I realized what an integral part of the election process Wanda was. Now, normally everybody does a 6-hour shift, but not Wanda. She does the full 12-hour shift. She is committed to 12 hours. And during COVID, when I had to say, look, I'm being told you have to break that up, She did not want to go home at 12 to 4. She fought me every step of the way. And when I told her that we had to hand count a lot of ballots last November because we put on some non-binding questions, I can come, don't worry, I'll be there every day after however long it takes, just let me know. That's who Wanda is. Anything for this town. Anything for this town. The other thing that made me, the first time I met Wanda, and this gets me every time, and the way she talks about her husband, Merritt. There is something special when you can dedicate your life to someone that meant so much. And she very much reminded me of all the good things in life. The good things of when you find that soulmate who makes the difference. And that touched my heart and stayed with me. She's just one of those people. Waldeboro Day, election. Then we have to talk about a little thing she does for the fire department and has done in the past is sewing for them. And I haven't even gotten to the food pantry. Back when we started having our weekly food pantry here during COVID, guess who would show up and fill her car with food and deliver it to people's homes? Was Wanda. Every single week. And let me tell you, we filled up that car. How many times? Sometimes it was 2 trips.
Yes, I read that.
Yeah. Eli was there. He was filling her car. He remembers every time. And it wasn't something she did for herself. It was something she did for others. And we found out last week why she started doing so much volunteer work. It was because her husband, the love of her life, had volunteered before her. We are blessed to have you. I have to tell you, today she showed up. She was a little impatient about the coffee getting there after 9. Her Dunkin', she needed her Dunkin' because Wanda runs on Dunkin'.
Yep.
But she is just so wonderful. And, you know, if Marcus was in here, Max is here, she was an invaluable resource when we were left without our clerk on short notice. She was invaluable to this town and helped us through it, and we would like to thank you. And you're just a gem, an absolute gem. And I'd like to present you with this dedication. And if you would like, come say a few words. Oh, okay. But you should.
Don't tell me your speech was. Can't really talk right now. I'm very proud to be a part of Waldeboro. And as I said the other day at home, I'm glad that I can do what I can do. And I hope to keep doing it as long as I can. And I want to thank all of you. And I want to thank my family for coming tonight. It means a lot. And I love each and every one of you. And thank you all. Thank you. What kind of life do you live?
Only a sister would say that to another sister.
I would just like to add one more thing to Wanda's story. I first met Wanda when we were DJing, and I saw her and her husband out on the floor dancing. And if you ever saw 2 people dance in step, in tune, and I could just watch them all night long dancing, the slow dances.
Yeah.
The slow dances were remarkable. I loved watching you two. Loved it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we have one other occasion we're marking tonight. This is for Katie Witchenbach. As many of you may have noticed, Katie did not seek reelection, but dedicated 6 years to the town of Waldoboro. This is just a little token to say thank you very much for your service. And enjoy your retirement. It's flowers,
Yes, my
and
favorite.
your very favorite.
Thank you. Thank you all. It's been an honor. It's been an honor sitting here at this table with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We got all the emotional stuff out of the way first.
Shall we move on then?
We can, and I guess you have to go back to work now. You can stay,
Just have my family stand up, please.
of course, and get a picture.
Not all of them, but please.
Well, come gather around and take pictures. BC will be more than happy to take pictures and give them to you.
Can you introduce them?
Why don't you introduce them?
This is my sister Kathy.
Could you tell?
I'm the baby sister. Oh, no. She's older. No, I'm not. This is my daughter Melissa. And my grandson Ryan.
He's really tall.
Yeah, he is.
He's only
13.
13.
Mhm.
Wow.
Good basketball player, I bet.
This is my daughter-in-law Kristen.
Aw.
Luke here. This is my grandson Lucas. And this is my oldest son Jason.
Aw.
And I have one other son, but he lives in Pittsfield and everywhere tomorrow, so.
We'll send him a picture.
Well, get together so BC can get a nice big picture.
Just bring it.
Yeah, I'll stand in front of
I'll be the little one.
I'll stand in front of my child.
Kathy, you come from and maybe show it to her. Okay, everybody in.
Guys, ready?
All
All right. On three. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 4.
Everybody smile. Pretend you like me.
Can you move that way just a hair? Nope. The
You.
13-year-old who's tall in the back, that way. Just to kind of fill in the gap. There we go. I got your face now.
Yeah.
Want to make sure I had everybody's faces
No,
when I
I
realized you
didn't.
were blocked.
No, I didn't.
All right, we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you all.
You can stay or you can go. It's up to you.
Dinner time.
Dinner time.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all.
They're all leaving us.
They're all leaving.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jean.
Moving along. Adjustments to the agenda. Is there any?
Just a question. Have we talked to Mr. Cotterall yet about joining the CTC? I know, I believe he submitted an application. Or Mike Reedy.
Have you seen one?
I don't know if he
Is
did.
that?
He did,
He
and
did?
I know Ruben interviewed him.
Oh, okay.
Ruben interviewed him.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Normally select board does
Yeah.
that. I think maybe we got short circuited.
Sounds like you did.
Yeah.
So it's got to go to
So I'll contact Ruben and make sure it goes to
the select board.
the select board
Yeah.
committee.
Okay.
Citizens' comments. Everyone left us. I guess-
Well, we have a
Is there any
couple
online?
citizens there.
Well,
Where's
you
Ruben?
know.
Here.
He was very busy. He was supposed to be on vacation and was called into work.
Oh, ouch.
Select board comments. Bob?
The CTC met Monday night, and they're trying to organize how to approach the companies we've authorized them to approach to ask them if they would like to sit down with the town to talk about bringing fiber to every single physical address in Walsboro. And correct me if I'm wrong, Max, but I think the consensus was it would be great if the town could actually issue a letter to them without commitment, asking them to express an interest in sitting down with the town to talk about this project. And I'm just sort of wondering whether that's something you, Julie, are comfortable, or Max is comfortable.
I gotta be honest, I got your text message. It's election day, so I didn't even look.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's why I'm mentioning it now.
Yeah,
An
we'll have to look at
invitation?
it.
Sorry.
An invitation for them to
It
come
would-
sit
it wouldn't
down?
be it would just.
To talk.
It's not an invitation. It's an expression of interest that we're requesting them
Mm-hmm.
to give us. Are they interested?
I can work with Max on that.
Okay.
And then at the next meeting, I can present it to the board.
That'd be great.
Can we work on that, Max? Remind me
Thank
when I have a brain left.
I'll talk more about it.
Okay.
You all set, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Katie?
Now that I have my composure back. You kind of took me off guard there. Thank you so much for allowing me to sit at this table with all of you. I really appreciated it. I learned a lot. And I just wanted to thank you all for that chance.
Thank you. Colonel? The only thing I have is a little history in that we had our last citywide cleanup. The last one was a little not near as aggressively manned by the local population, but overall, the four were excellent. And Bob was on every one of them. And
I missed one.
did you? Oh,
I did.
Okay. Well, he was on the last couple and was out there fighting ticks and
Don't go down Noblesboro Road along the side and pick up garbage. Man, I must have taken 100 ticks. I'm not exaggerating.
Wow.
100 ticks off of myself.
Whoa.
but it was a successful endeavor. Justin did a great job in organizing it. And he told me that he had talked with somebody from the high school, I don't know, that have the name, that they might involve some students in not only doing some of the cleaning up, but organizing, publicizing, and which they could do for some credit. So that may be in the works. Cool.
Oh,
Awesome. All set? Jan?
I have a few things, and I keep forgetting to do this one. But this is that time of year when we drive around and look at the flowers. And when I go to work at 7 a.m, I often pass Steve Warren and one of his other cohorts bending down into the dirt on Jefferson Street.
Carol.
And it makes everything look so nice. The intersection at 220, that island there it just adds such a nice touch to our town. It makes me smile every time I go by. And the other person who is doing the same thing, two people, Kelly, I can't think of her last name, it might be Delano or something. It's close. Anyway, Kelly and Maury, right alongside of the Sproul Block, as you turn, you go down Jefferson Street, take a left onto Main, right on the end of the Sproul Block is a lovely garden. And they tend that, particularly, I see Kelly out there all the time, but I think it's the two of them are doing that. And I saw Kelly on the street once and I just went up to her and thanked her because I think that those gardens are a gift to all of us, to all the residents. It just makes my mood much nicer when I see the flowers and I see the tidy. It just enhances our town. So I wanted to say thank you to them, the Garden Club, and to Kelly and Maury for giving us the gift of flowers. And the other thing, that's the good news. Oh, also there's a vaccination clinic at the high school on the 10th. So if anyone is interested, you can either get your first or your second there. Just call the school. Free. It's open to anybody. The other thing that this week it disturbs me to see a lot of misinformation everywhere. And I find it really disturbing. And somehow I had to, block some people or something, just because it wasn't good. So, and as I was reading some of the misinformation that went over and over and over, was repeated, like 10 times the same thing. And it was wrong the first time and it was wrong all the other times. I found it bothersome. So anyway, it took me back to an old little kid's poem that I thought that I would like to share with you. A wise old owl sat in an oak. The more he heard, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why aren't we all like that wise old bird? So it made me think of that. And then I looked it up because I couldn't remember the exact words. And that was something that was used, I think, World War II, where they said a good soldier would be like that wise old bird. I thought that was interesting. So I'm glad today's election day and that we can focus a lot of our energy, and I think people through town can focus their energy on a lot of the good things that are happening in this town. And there are lots and lots of them. The end.
Well, I just got one thing. I just want to thank Katie for being on this board and serving with her, and hopefully she enjoys her extra time planting more flowers and growing more flowers and stuff. Hopefully she'll stay
Never
involved.
enough- There's never enough flowers.
And I hope she stays involved and watches us on Zoom. And
Keep in touch.
absolutely.
And you're a big part of that garden club. Are you the president? Yes, the president of the garden club. So, send my good wishes to all of them. And my thanks. I just really
I can't get out
all
as
of you
early
guys.
as
Well, yeah, that's pretty early.
Steve and Carol.
Somebody's a night owl.
Yeah, well, get out at night. It's
I do
lightly.
my best. I do my best.
Bob?
And I will,
I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. I'm just wondering whether we're aware that the Waldorf Theater is going to be doing its first live performance this month.
No kidding?
Am I stealing your thunder?
Well, it's next Thursday.
I'm sorry?
I think it's next Thursday, but it's
Thursday
okay.
and Friday.
Thursday and Friday. It's fine.
The 17th.
You've stolen it. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'll be quiet.
No, it's a wonderful thing. The Waldo Theater,
Well, you can
first
fill us
live
in.
performance.
She can fill us in on what it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right. Town manager's report?
I was going to keep it short and sweet and talk about the Waldo Theater.
You do a much better job than I ever would.
So next Thursday and Friday, tickets are available. Go to their website, go to their Facebook page. It would be great to see them sold out both nights. I just need to say that I believe that the Waldo Theater is one of those economic drivers for our community that will impact our community. I think people will frequent it. I think that will be an anchor in downtown. And I think once they get up and running, you're going to see a very vibrant downtown. I know everybody looks to government to solve what's going to happen downtown. And I understand that. And the comprehensive plan addressed, the downtown plan addressed some ideas. But I think that's going to give us a push that is needed, and exciting things are happening. And the Waldo Theater, I think, is a crown jewel. And I just have to say, their board works extremely hard. And what they have been able to accomplish in, honestly, I'm going to say 3.5 short years, maybe 4, has just been phenomenal. And their leadership has been excellent. Kate, when they brought Kate on, that really started to get the information out there and flowing. And it's just been a privilege to work with them. And they really are just a wonderful organization. And I can't wait.
I think that reflects of what the select board and the budget committee have done in the last couple of years of giving them money to make this happen. People say the select board isn't doing anything to help the downtown. Yes, we are. That's going to be a big key to driving everything. Everyone's been in there and tried stuff, and it hasn't really worked out that well, but I think the Waldo Theater will.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those places that attracts so many different walks of life. People, But, I was interviewed a couple times about the Waldo Theater, and everybody knows I'm from away, but I saw Dumbo there. My mom, when we would stay in Wiscasset, always made sure to take me to the Waldo Theater. I saw Dumbo, and I think it was Herbie, the first Herbie. I'm dating myself. You remember the love bug?
VW.
Yeah, the beetle. Anyway, but I have memories there, and that's something very special to me. And I imagine everybody who lives in Waldoboro has, or ever visited, has memories there. And it's just nice to see it up and coming.
So you did a much better job than I ever could. Thank you.
Oh, it's just,
And what's the name of the play?
it's not, it's
It's
a,
called Always Made.
Always
Yeah,
Made,
I have
yes.
tickets.
Almost.
Almost
made.
made,
Almost
right.
Almost made.
I'm going Thursday night. I have tickets.
We're going the 19th.
I got it as a birthday gift. Someone.
How much are the
texted me.
tickets? Just some
$15.
15.
15?
15,
It's reasonable.
It is.
Live.
very reasonable.
Cool.
Can I just put one plug in?
Absolutely.
Back at the select board comment.
Sure.
Roadside restaurant across the street. Have you ever been in there? Have you been in there?
No.
50.
It's done in the 50s and 60s theme. The black and white tile floor, and it's got Elvis all over the place. It's got memorabilia up on the wall. It has a jukebox, and it's just done so nicely. And they're open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 7:30, and go there. It's a wonderful place, and he still owns McGreevy's as well too. But it's done nicely. I went in there today, and I couldn't believe my eyes. But lots of people have been there so far, and give them your business. Thank you.
I've heard good reviews.
Was you all done?
Mhm.
Okay. Moving along. Consent calendar.
I
Somebody like to make a motion?
like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Who's gonna make that
That's the
motion with
last time I
Katie's
do it.
going?
I know.
That's been Katie's motion.
Moving along. New business. Update on jobs description.
You were sent these. There's 4 of them. We have a summer recreation counselor, a summer recreation program leader, and a summer recreation program assistant leader. And these are for our summer program. As you know, it's back up and running. We're doing a full-time summer recreation program. So as we were going through job descriptions, we realized these 3 were not in our job description file, and that they needed to be. And these came from Marcus. So he needed those approved. So that's 3 of those. And then the last is the Assistant Public Works Director job description. As you know, and we talked about this during our budget meetings, that we needed to start to prepare for a retirement in that department. And this represents the fruits of that discussion. John came to me, sometime a little bit into April, and said he definitely felt the need to have a second. We came up with this job description. It's a non-union position. And I think it's essentially the assistant to the Public Works Director. It's our existing Public Works Director job description. And we put assistants in some of the description. I think it represents what John, our Public Works Director, currently does. But I think it's important to note that this was something we had talked about, like I said, during Budget Committee. And there's a lot to learn up in Public Works, and we have to be prepared.
glad you're doing this.
Hmm.
I mean, we worried about that position for some time.
We have.
We've known there's gonna
We
be a
have.
transition at some point.
Correct.
Good way.
And we really had a serious discussion. Well, if this is okay with you guys and you approve it, then I'll get into the next part of the discussion. But I don't think it's a real heavy lift, these four, but we had to, I'd like them adopted tonight if we could.
There was, needs to be a few things paralleled.
Okay, let's go through them then. Go ahead.
Well, you can, I just wrote, I didn't do the last ones. But yeah, if you can read that, that's the only kind I could, like it starts with assistance with, and then it goes to assist directly, just,
You would
You
like
need
it
to
all to say
say-
assistance?
well, no, I'd like it all to say assist.
Assist.
I'd like it to be more an active voice.
Okay,
Like assist with review, inspection, and then and supervises, that's mixed in there, so it should be supervision there.
okay,
But I can give you this.
okay, I can make those
And I was
changes.
just reading through.
She
and
beat you to it, Bob.
Oh, did you have that?
I'm just saying, she beat you to it. She beat you to it.
Yeah, well, it does need to be parallel.
It does.
It does.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
words do matter, and it kind of represents our town, so it should, like maintains and keeps records
Assists with,
of, yeah. And then there are a couple other little comments and little stuff in there, assists, I don't know, some other, just to parallel the language. The
I have no
content-
problem with
Oh,
that.
the content is fine, is good, it's good. It's just, getting some of the language. I mean, and maybe Bob
I
has
just
already
had a
done that.
question on whether or not I didn't notice it in here, maybe I didn't read it carefully enough. Whether we want to establish education requirements of any kind? Is it high school level, is it college level?
I think that we're mirroring what we have required in the past.
Okay,
It didn't, oh no, that was the other one that said high school. One said high school, one said high school graduate. I was looking at the other, high school student on one of those and the others were.
right,
Right, that's on those,
on the.
on the recreation ones,
Yeah.
but,
I'm talking more about-
right, no, no,
This one, yeah.
no.
Because it's involved, I mean, there's budgeting, there's organizing work, there's
Yes,
taking over when the director's gone, there's transfer station, it's quite a responsibility.
it is quite a responsibility, but I think that the current requirements for the DPW director, this mirrors them.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Wicked smart person,
So
wicked smart person.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. My best public works directors have not been college graduates.
I'm not saying they should be.
I'm just,
Don't get me wrong.
no, but I'm
I
just,
mean, if that's how we're describing it, and we should, then that's what we ought to be saying.
well, again, my best, and 35 years, I've had some amazing, I'm not saying that can't be, but I think we need to leave ourselves open to the possibility that there are people who are qualified to take that position who may have had a high school education or done some college, but that truly, or they may have military experience or some other type of experience. They could have been a business person and own their own business.
Yep.
Who, may not have that.
I wouldn't hurt to put that kind of descriptive in the position. I think you're hitting the nail on the head.
I'm hitting the nail on the head.
You
Yes. Do you guys get this on Fridays?
What's that? Yeah. Your report?
No, the packet on Fridays.
Oh,
are.
yeah, me
Okay.
too, because you're closed Friday.
Or I thought Tanya emails these. Does she not email you the
No.
full?
No,
Okay.
I got mine when
Okay, so
I
this,
think you emailed that they were in your boxes, but I look
Okay.
at it, but I don't print it.
so she needs to start emailing you the stuff that's in the packet.
well, she usually does.
Okay.
I mean, she's got it in there as background docs.
Okay. It's just that when it comes to that stuff, it would be good to know prior to.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah, I
That
got it.
way I can have a clean copy ready to go based on what you're saying, and we can have,
Do we have to, we don't have to sign this, do we? We just have to adopt, it's just a,
right.
Yeah, we can adopt the content of it. It's-
Right.
Right.
It's fine. Now, I got it yesterday and did that last night.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure when, in the future, she emails everybody this stuff. So where would you like to have those requirements put in?
Just as a separate, maybe a separate, you're talking about preparation, knowledge, skills, and abilities. That might be where you want to put it. Because it's all, what you've described just now ties into that whole theme.
Or would you like to have training and education?
I don't know that education falls into this.
Well, education in how to fix a motor and how to repair things. It's different kind of education.
Yeah, but you can.
Yeah.
You can use the University of Life to learn that.
Right. I read that. I could no more do those things.
Okay, so we will put qualifications.
must have a high school education. Is that what you want?
Well, it has that in there,
Graduate high
equal
school?
to, that's in there.
Mhm.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the knowledge. Say that. Yeah, knowledge equivalent to completion of high school diploma, proper certification to operate heavy equipment, 1 to 3 years progressively responsible. He has some experience.
Well, I know one
Well, I
of
think it's
the
covered
real
right there
world
then.
requirements is a CDL. You know, that, so you have to say that if you don't have a CDL, you need to get one.
Well, it says right here, proper certification for operating heavy and
Yeah.
light
Yeah.
equipment. So I think the CDL's gonna cover you there.
Okay.
I think you got it covered already in here.
Okay.
Again, I'm taking this from what we already
Got
have
it.
in existence.
I don't think we need to change anything. I think it's in there.
Basic mechanical stuff, maintenance, repairs.
I don't think we need to
That's a
complicate
lot
it.
of, there's a lot of stuff in there
Yeah.
to do. I thought that.
But I
description was-
I have no problem adding that. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to what I said. That sounded so good.
What, I don't think you need to do it though.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, because it already says equivalent to the completion of high school diploma.
Right,
Or proper certification. of
right.
heavy
And there's nothing,
1
again,
to
there's
3
nothing
years.
about, I just feel strongly about this one.
I can see that.
And there's nothing wrong with college education at all. But
Nothing wrong with a high school education.
there's nothing wrong with a high school education, and if you started and this has been your tract and this is what you know, there's something to be said about that experience, and that's my only issue. So I will clean up that language, but with that cleaned up, you're comfortable.
I am.
You want a motion?
Yes, please.
So I move we accept all job descriptions with subject to changes as noted, not subject to, with the changes
With the changes,
suggested.
with the yellow changes
Yeah, that's hard to read.
to fix tense and
Yeah, that kind of,
that kind of stuff.
we should have just handed it to Jean Lawrence. while
I
she was
should have,
here.
and I will,
She could have whipped right through that.
and then I will give it to you, the Public Works Director changes, because that same language is in that one.
Yeah. Well, it looked like it came from here.
And I have, we've started, yeah, here and there. It came from
Is there
different
a second?
places.
Second.
Any more discussion?
You have what you need, Julie?
I do. We also have to discuss, along with that goes the salary scale,
We'll do that next.
if we could do that next. So a couple of things
Well,
that
we got
I,
a motion on the floor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we haven't voted.
Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor on the job descriptions? Yeah, okay. Now, shall we move on?
So a couple of things that we did was address, since we were making changes, I took into account that potentially tonight at 8:00, we will have the budget pass for EMS. And if you'll recall, we made changes to that pay scale. That reflects these changes. It just gives the range.
Mhm.
And so everybody's clear on this. This is a range. The select board doesn't set salary. The town manager sets salary within that range. Again, and I should also point out that the assistant Public Works Director is not the appointment of the select board, it's the appointment of the town manager. So these reflect the minimum and maximums. So for the new position, the Assistant Public Works Director, it's $48,000 up to $70,000.
Are we cutting ourselves short with those ranges?
Well, they fall within the budget parameters of this year. We may want to go back. So what I'm assuming is going to happen, we're going to be going into negotiations the end of this year for police and public works. So I think when we look at those wholesale salary scales in comparisons, I think that's when we can really address this. This, like I said, you set these.
Yep.
So we can review them again.
This isn't forever.
This
This
isn't-
is what
right.
it is for now.
Right.
Mhm.
And if
For
you
now, and
recall,
as
when
time
we
goes
got
on.
away from the
And
box,
things change.
remember
Yes.
we got away from that and did these ranges. And then we changed paramedic, EMT intermediate, EMT basic, and driver. And those, that we just changed the maximums on those.
Mhm.
So the paramedic is up to $30 per hour, EMT 25, EMT intermediate 25, EMT basic 20, and driver 18. And I'm just gonna be honest, I mean, you know, if you look around, jobs, people are paying $18, I saw the other day, for a dishwasher. You know, and now, you know, to pay $15 for somebody to drive an ambulance, you know, we've got to look at what's going on in the world. And I think that that's going to be one of the largest tasks for the budget committee coming up. And I know the budget committee just got done meeting, but I think, you know, starting in September, we have to seriously have a conversation about looking at how to recruit and retain employees. And you know, that goes for the police department, EMS. You know, those are things that, like I said, everybody's having trouble filling the positions. Maybe that will change, but I think we have to be prepared and have that intelligent discussion.
We don't have a secretary, do we?
We have that title in our job descriptions.
But we don't have one. It's currently
It's not filled, no, and it was not budgeted for.
But it was just in our descriptions.
Right.
okay.
Would somebody like to make a motion on these?
I do acceptance of the salary scale as of June 1, 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Cool. Moving along, old business, a policy update on visitors and children in the workplace.
We looked at that last time. I didn't receive any comments after. Again, this was to address issues when, not so much when people bring a child into an office environment, but when they bring a child into an environment that has equipment that could be, or areas that could be dangerous. That are not potentially suitable for children. High-risk areas.
This is basically the same thing as what you gave us last time.
Correct. But you guys wanted a chance to
Look at it.
look at it.
Is everyone all set with this?
I'm good with that.
Do we
Bob?
want to give a title, policy a title?
What would you like? Children and visitor at workplace policy?
Sounds good to me.
Some description of what.
I knew it. To just walk outside. What was that, Bob?
Children and visitor workplace policy?
Workplace visiting policy. And then the next was the earned leave policy that Peg had presented, which makes us in compliance with the earned leave policy that Maine enacted.
Oops.
No problem.
And this brings us in compliance with state.
Correct.
Cool.
We all set with those two? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move that we accept these two policies. The earned paid leave policy and the visitors.
What was the name of it, Bob?
Children and visitor workplace visiting policy. Sounds a bit weird, but.
Would it be
Visitation.
shorter?
visitation
What did you
policy.
just say? It was shorter.
It was shorter when I said it.
Yeah.
We'll just call it visitation policy.
Children and visitor workplace visiting policy. I don't know how else to.
That's what I.
That's fine. Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? There you go.
That's easy.
So we got all of that done.
Yep. Well, next item is agenda items.
So somebody's here tonight. I wish John Daigle could have been here tonight. So we talked about this deputy director of public works policy, job description. We talked about that during the budget cycle. There was a lot of discussion amongst myself and John, other department heads, with you, the select board. We had some hiccups in public works. We're all aware of that. That number 2 position is extremely important to be filled. That number 2 position is something that is extremely important to fill. After September, our public works director attains those years, so he could potentially retire when he sees fit. There is a lot to learn. And I cannot tell you how proud I was of John for coming to me and telling me it's time to fill that position. And he championed the cause of filling that position in-house. And he felt strongly about a candidate for that position. Extremely strongly about a candidate for that position. I wish he had thought about that about a month earlier. Because the candidate for that position who survived the background investigation and all of those things is Will Pratt. Which is slightly complicated, or could be slightly complicated at 8:00 tonight. So I want everybody to be very clear. That's who the candidate for that position is. So not knowing that was John's thought, and then I get a petition for select board member. I've done a lot of research. I've talked to the Maine Municipal Association. I've talked to our employment attorney. This may be a moot point, and I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer in the room, but if you are not successful in your bid for select person, then this is a moot point. But if you are successful, there was going to be a lot of questions about this, which is perfectly natural. But he can serve as our assistant public works director and as a select person. However, there are going to be recusals that have to be made. So anything to do with union negotiations, anything to do with personnel in those departments that you might be overseeing, assisting with overseeing. And if you were ever to assume the position of Public Works Director, you would have to step down from your seat. So there's a lot of little nuances to this, but I just want to assure everybody. And, you sit there and you think, well, maybe we should just move on to a different candidate. But we have an employee who is obviously extremely dedicated to the town of Waldoboro. Do you then discriminate against that person because they felt the need to serve their community? John feels strongly in this promoting this person. And I support that decision. Again, that is not to say that I'm not going to get a lot of criticism for that. And that's very possible. But again, you cannot, I could not in good conscience not give the opportunity or discriminate against somebody for doing a good job and being the choice of a seasoned public works director. Either way I went. So I made the best choice for the town. So I want everybody to be very clear on that. I want to be very transparent about that. And the possibility existed, he would have said no. So it's not like we could have had an open discussion. Personnel issues are not open. Your timing. But again, I just feel so strongly that you can't discriminate or punish somebody for wanting to serve the public. So that's where we're at. And it may all be a moot point, but we followed the rules. I've checked with everyone. MMA was my first check. And like anything else, I always do ask our actual employment attorney for their advice and counsel. But that's where we're at.
It's not unusual in Maine.
And that's what I found out. I have to be honest. That's what I found out. I found that out. That is actually very normal in Maine. And maybe it's just from whence I came creeping in. It is extremely normal in Maine. John had absolutely no qualms about it. And I've had in my previous experience an employee who was also a select board member. And I had no issues whatsoever. And I don't anticipate any issues. But I know it opens me up to some criticism, and I'll take it. So.
But you're on solid footing. It's legal.
It's
Period.
Well, it's a great choice. It's legal, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be a lot of chatter about it, and that's why I just like to put it out there.
Let them chatter away.
Well, I understand that, but as we've learned, it's not always pleasant to be in that seat. But I feel I've made a lot of. It's funny today. A lot of people were asking me about Max, and as you all know, I like to say Max is, probably you're looking at your next town manager in Max at some point. And I consider him, top 5 best decisions in my career I've ever made. And I don't say that lightly because I have a lot of really good decisions I've made. But I'm going to say will rise to that occasion also. So
Here.
timing, but I felt I had to do what was the right thing to do.
And you have a select board to back you up.
So congratulations, Assistant Public Works Director.
Thank you.
When do you start the job?
Tomorrow.
Really?
Whoa.
Wow,
Well, technically today, but
awesome,
he assumes tomorrow.
Nice.
cool.
That was so cool.
We won't
He-
see you at the
Well, for a
Transfer
couple more
station.
days, you may have to see him for a couple more
May
days.
have to.
Well, yeah, you're going to, it's
Yeah.
going to be a forced march apparently. It's going to be fine.
We'll miss you at the transfer
Congratulations.
station.
Yes.
But congratulations.
Thank you.
Not to say you might not see him there on occasion,
That's right, I'll still be up there.
Yeah. Just-
you know. And I also have to say that the Public Works Department employees, when John told them of the plan, were extremely supportive and very happy to welcome Will. And like I said, you know, John and I had a lot of conversations, select board, and we had conversations about inside, outside, where do you want to go? And that is something that I think is important, is that John felt very strongly that it should be somebody from the inside. And I would also say, if John was here, he would probably say it too. It has to be somebody, and say what you want. John Daigle cares about this town. He has a love of Waldoboro in his heart. He's put in a lot of time for Waldoboro, sacrificed a lot for Waldoboro. And that's what he wants in somebody to succeed him. So that love of Waldoboro in your heart was very important to him, and that was a huge part of his decision. You know, and I back that up.
I like it when the guys go by in their big dump truck and toot their horn at me from out
They
there.
toot a lot of people. They toot at a lot of people in town. We get a lot of good comments about that.
This is my brain right here. I like
Sorry,
it.
I'm gonna shut up.
Cool. Are we all set? Is there any items for the agenda for the next meeting? A clean slate right now? Nothing hanging?
We don't have a clean slate. It depends what happens tonight.
Well, next
Or
week we
somebody
get
else may be
to
making those
get new
decisions?
people to interview,
Very bad.
right? Interviewers for committees.
Interviewees. Yeah, I'll be out of town until the 15th.
Well, that's, we set up new, our term is done and when.
Oh,
the next
After the new
person-
election, then,
Doesn't that go next meeting though?
Yeah, we do it for the, yeah, they're not here yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think isn't it the next meeting?
Yeah,
that we
it
do
is.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not.
'Cause you're
tonight,
gonna
but-
yeah, because you don't know. You,
Yeah.
Abden may not be here next meeting.
Where you going?
But on the agenda, we'll assign.
We will assign
You going hunting?
the new committee.
Fishing?
I'm already hunting.
So,
Saw a deer in my field next door today.
are we ready to
Alive?
adjourn so that Max and I can go back?
Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I so move.